things are going to get a lot worse before they get any better. So, bottoms up, I suppose, as this is one bitter pill you are going to have to swallow, one way or, the other. But fear not, fret not, for at the heart of this bitter medicine does indeed still lie a delicious little tasty red pill. For as I've been saying for the last year or so now, we are winning. We may even indeed have seen the bottom of the pit and begin our ascendancy, and recent events only seems to yet further solidify and reinforce this hypothesis. However, being at the bottom of the pit and beginning to climb one's way out simply means that the longest and the hardest climb is still ahead of us. Which might seem like a bit of a dark outlook, but hear me out here. Allow me to paint you a little bit of a picture. All the way back in 2014, this happened. A scientist who had just completed the single most titanic event in his life, probably landing a vehicle on an asteroid, expecting accolades and adorations from across the globe, was instead reduced to tears as he had to apologize to a full-throated mainstream media for wearing a joke shirt given to him by a female friend. A relative, I think, in fact, even. It's been a while, but this was recent enough to crush this man, wearing a sexist t-shirt. I'm mentioning this because at this point, we had no idea what was going on. Most of us thought this was a momentary blip in the matrix, a point of madness, right? It's like, okay, well, this is insane. Obviously, everyone's going to look at this and laugh, right? Well, what even is this, right? And then it got worse. So much worse. I want to point out to you that everything the left, the opposition, whatever you wish to call them, have done over the course of the last decade or so, the annihilation of hobbies, the cancellations of individuals, the crushing of all oppositions, the enforcement of ever more draconian and absurd censorship, these were the actions of an opposition in ascendancy. These were the actions of a force that we didn't even know we were fighting against. We were no credible threat to them. We were less than an amoeba, barely beginning to wrap our minds around the scale of the opposition. These were the actions of an undisputed victor. What do you think they're going to do when they start losing? Now there's a chilling thought, isn't it? In fact, I can hardly imagine much worse in the way of chilling thoughts, really. And if you want a quick hors d'oeuvre, a taste of what is likely to come, well, let me put it like this. You've seen nothing yet, because you might be thinking that we've seen the worst that could possibly happen, right? We had years of double mask lockdowns across the globe. We had the entirety of the Earth's economy put on halt for well, I still can't talk about that on YouTube now, can I, really? But this was not it. This was not the roof. In fact, we're trying to bring this back right now. In fact, it has been successfully brought back in certain areas. Only the fact that he was ridiculously unpopular is keeping it at bay for the moment. Oh, no. This is not the worst. You want to see the real shit that they could do to you? Well, look no further than ye old Orange Man. For love him or hate him, consider him ineffective or a God-given gift to humanity. Whatever your opinion, you must agree that this man has become the focal point, the lightning rod of the worst that the machine can possibly do to another human being. To the point where recently now, in fact just the other day, a New York judge handed down a summary judgment in a fraud case launched against Trump. Now, this is a partial summary judgment because there is another 6 claims that will be aired as well. But what a summary judgment is in essence, a case comes before the judge. The judge looks at it and goes, well, this is a complete open and shut case. Just, there you go, throw it out. There's no reason to argument this. There's no reason to have a discussion. It's done. GTFO out of my courtroom. Bang, there it is. And worse still, They even went so far as to, in these lengthy documentation here, they went so far as to chastise the defense. They went so far as to chastise Trump's lawyer for even bringing the defense. That is how much of an absolute no, shut up, he's a bad person, this judgment was. Which of course brings to mind another case, because there was one man that has already gone through the ringer and has already effectively been destroyed, and that is of course Alex Jones. Now, Alex Jones was found guilty of quite a lot of interesting things, and the various legal circuses around him are extensive in the extreme. But even if we assume the man was guilty of absolutely everything he was accused of, the sentence of nearly $1 billion is beyond any sort of absurdity, and it gets better still. That $1 billion settlement, I think $900 million, that was barely the beginning. The current total stands at $1.5 billion. A individual, hell, let's even say like a media corporation, right, has been condemned to pay a $1.5 billion fine. That places Alex Jones up there amongst fines given to some of the largest corporations on Earth. Oh, indeed. Not to mention, of course, the complete yeeting of this man of every single social media platform, of every avenue of him defending himself and making his opinions known. He has been wiped out everywhere. He is persona non grata to a degree that even lepers in ancient medieval society were rarely subject to. And of course, this is not good enough. In fact, the mass deplatforming of Alex Jones was rather condemned as not toothy enough, because you see, he'd already created his own websites. Oh, the man was earning money on other things than social media. We can't completely sever this man's lifeline out of existence. Well, clearly, these are the limits of deplatforming. We must find something worse to do, which is, well, kind of exactly what they're currently doing to Trump. As what they are doing here, this summary judgment, this in essence orders the liquidization of Trump companies and assets in New York. This goes beyond deplatforming him. This is, hey, that's a pretty business you have there. How about we destroy that as well? How about we use the legal system to take from you everything? And if they can do it to Trump with a single swing of the gavel, they can, to again the point of chastising Trump's defense, they can do it to you. This is a bit of an extreme interpretation here, but in essence, this is the cessation of, well, private companies in America. I know I'm being a bit hyperbolic there, but in essence, this is what this can, in the most extreme scenario, I admit yet again, mean. And I want to point out, the Russell Brand allegations are in essence a rerun of the Alex Jones. This is a full-throated assault, a united mainstream media, with letters sent from UK government officials to social media platforms urging them to deplatform Russell Brand, with the BBC, in essence part of the British establishment, sending word to YouTube going, you know, this bad boy here, he's been accused of all sorts of bad boy things. You're not allowing him to be monetized, are you? And YouTube then goes, oh no, of course not. God help it. No, we would never allow somebody who harms the YouTube ecosystem to remain on the platform. Certainly not. Not like we have, again, convicted criminals on the platform or anything. Surely. No. Of course not. It's him in specific that is being targeted here. And as I've said again and again, I don't like the guy, but I will defend him to the death over this, because he has very clearly become a target of the entire machine, which is flexing his muscles and saying, what can I do? What am I capable of doing still? This is a spasm, in essence, because Russell Brand, in reality, is not a particularly big name. He's no Alex Jones, he's no luminary railing against the left, really. Now, he is an insider, which makes him a Judas. It makes him an apostate, and that alone will no doubt warrant a fairly severe cancellation attempt, but to the point of mobilizing government assets? Oh no, this is something bigger. This is the machine wondering if it still has the power to crush someone, as we are heading towards what it knows will be very harsh times for it, because, shit's getting a lot worse. One of the reasons why we are beginning to win is because cultural concerns are beginning to wane. There's a little bit of the pyramid of needs here, right? Disney is all for the left, full-throated support of progressive ideology, so long as they can get money from investors to keep backing it. So long as the company is still operational, they don't care. And so long as the economy is still booming all across the globe and money is easy to come by, well, there you go, we can continue to push it. But the moment that money starts running dry and Disney starts entering genuine economic troubles, now we're gonna start quietening the culture war. This is not a coincidence, obviously. And the recession, it's probably gonna happen. I was pretty much sure we were going to have a big one during COVID, but due to governments across the globe throwing billions at it, we managed to narrowly avoid it. However, I am virtually reassured of the fact that it's going to happen this time. How can I be so certain? Well, because they told me it was going to happen. That's why the World Economic Forum, experts at predicting various disasters, are informing me that a recession is coming. And for some reason, mysteriously enough, I believe them. I think they're experts on this, as well. Another event happened, of course. Event 201, Pandemic Exercises, hosted by, amongst others, Bill Gates, the World Health Organizations, and, of course, the World Economic Forums. This practice for a worldwide pandemic with mild flu-like signals and severe pneumonia happened around about a month before the first proper confirmed official case of corona, and mere months, of course, again before the full outbreak and the public recognition of the coronavirus. Coinky-dinky winkies. Of course. Obviously. I'm not alleging anything actually happened here, but all I'm saying is, when the World Economic Forum tells me something is going to happen, I am going to trust their expertise on the matter, naturally. Nothing wrong with that. And of course, this also comes with fear as well. So our opposition knows that their hold over the economic system is going to have a downturn. They know that their measures during the pandemic were effective, but not as good as they could be because they weren't able to maintain them after it all happened. And now they are currently in the midst of annihilating the Orange Man. And yet the Orange Man has proven remarkably Teflon. Remarkably able to shrug off nearly anything and everything, and prognoses for the next election are not looking amazing. And so they begin, well, there's a real concern that Trump might do to us what we are currently doing to him. Oh no, how tragic. And I believe they probably have a point. See, here's the thing. When Trump was in office the first time, many have argued that he was ineffective, that he was unable to drain the swamp with the kind of zealous fervor that you really needed to pursue such an objective. And that is, in all due likelihood, true, because Trump believed that he could play ball. He believed that he could engage in negotiations. He figured that he could talk to these people, reason with them. In essence, he was us. Half a decade or so ago, when I still remember one of the most vivid memories is I was playing some World of Tanky knockoff game, and I was listening to a Sargon video, and he said, if I could only sit down with Anita Sarkeesian, surely I could explain all of this nonsense. I could explain why her critique of video gaming is just crazy and absurd. Because that's where we were all at. We genuinely thought that there wasn't malice involved in this. We genuinely thought that they were just being a bit dumb. They weren't. Trump tried to do it the traditional way, and that ended as it had to end. Whether or not Trump will take that lesson to heart, I suppose we will just have to wait and see if we can find out. But there certainly is every reason to believe that turnabout might indeed be fair play. This also comes amiss, of course, a slackening of the grip of the public as well. One of our opposition's best weapons have been the ability to turn the masses against us and on their side with flowery phrases. Oh, immigrants are our friends, they're coming, they're suffering. Oh, this man, he's crying, you have to smile so you don't cry. I've come from oppression, from torture and persecution, from an absolute shit. Oh, alright, we're not allowed to call them those, of course. But and now I'm here. I'm so glad. I am safe now. As record numbers of migrants arrive in New York City, officials say they're examining their legal options. As suddenly, New York is looking at this and going, well, this is wrong. We can't house all of these people. What the hell? They're way more here than we can handle. This is unfair. It's that damn governor of Texas. He's the one doing this. He's sending the migrants. And yes, he is. See, the busing of the migrants to other parts of the United States was the single most brilliant move that the border states ever made, because it will finally place the burden on other people who were once separated by miles and miles from the things they cheered on. We must care for the refugees. What's that? Is that a filthy foreigner in my neighborhood? Oh, I don't think so, as immediately thereupon it becomes a problem. It was always a problem. You just didn't see it. And this, of course, coincides as well with this happening in Europe, because Europe is the microcosmos of this. We've already had this happen. We've already had nations overrun by migrants for years now, before it really started becoming hammered home in America. We've already experienced this, and all across Europe, the right wing is surging, because they seem to be the only ones providing solutions to this very clear and evident problem. Recently now, Sweden, a Scandinavian country. And let me tell you this, a little bit of a story before we begin, right? Sweden has had 9 shootings in the last 15 days. 9 lethal gang shootings. It has had bombs detonated by criminal elements within the country. This is fucking Sweden. This simply did not happen before. It literally just did not occur previously. The most violent criminal incidents in Scandinavia before certain things happened was biker gangs running some drugs in their little outhouses on a minuscule scale. That was the worst we had to deal with. There was a wonderful interview. I don't know if I can find it here, but a Swedish police commissioner was basically asked, like, okay, what are you going to do? People are being shot. What are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know. We don't have the resource to deal with this. We're not trained to deal with this. We don't have the infrastructure to deal with this. This simply didn't happen. We are used to dealing with a completely different class of criminal who simply didn't do this. It was well accepted within our society that this was unacceptable. It was unimaginable. It wasn't even that there were rules against it. Obviously, it was illegal to commit crime in Sweden before all this happened, duh. But it was a societal thing. It was a spell. These are Nordic countries. This shit doesn't happen here. We don't have this. And when it does happen, it's absurd. It's unimaginable. The Nokas robbery. So Nokas was probably one of the most dramatic things that happened in Norway. It was an armed robbery of a bank. Now, the robbers thought they could get in easily and grab the money because they thought they had plans showing that the glass in the back door was unarmored or back entrance, so they could simply just smash it in, take all of the money, and run out. Turns out, the glass was in fact armored, and it took them ages to get in. This meant that they would be engaging police as police arrived on the scene and started firing at them with their tiny little piss-off revolvers, which was the only weaponry they had, which were locked in their cars, mind you. They had to call the central to get the weapons unlocked in the first place. During this robbery, were robbers on one side with assault rifles firing away at the police and the police firing back. Pedestrians walked straight through the firing line. There is one instance where a pedestrian went up to one of the robbers, assuming him to be a police officer, and went like, "Hey, excuse me, can I cross over here? Are you shooting a film or something?" And they're just like, no, go away. Are you insane? We are having a gun battle here, and people just strolled on through. Like, people were driving nearby, because to the Norwegian mind, the idea that this could be a violent incident in one of our cities? Unimaginable. Straight up, actually, literally unimaginable. And now, in Sweden, we have bombs going off, as 15 people are shot in a little over a week. The public can only deal with this for so long, and they have dealt with it about as long as they can at this point. Which again brings us back to the fear. And to wrap this all up in a nice little bow, if they did all of these things to us when they were winning, when they were in the ascendance, what do you imagine this rat will do when it realizes it is trapped in a corner? We are winning, make no mistake about it, but you are going to have to prepare yourself for the climb out of the well. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.